see how our audio sounds. And then we'll get ready to begin our putting streak from about 4 or 5 feet. Ready to begin our putting streak from check, check, check. Check, check, check. Oh, you know what? Check, check, check. 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 Oh, good. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. So no Pels tutor setup tonight, guys. We're just going to have some fun, see how many 5-footers in a row we can make. As you can see here on our extremely official tracker, our record is 223 in a row. Right? We also, on our extremely official tracker, have a subscriber count. Right? We're coming up on 5,000 subscribers, guys. So if you want to help us get there, smash that subscribe button. Okay, good start. We'll start our streak like every single streak at 1. Let's go. That's 2 in a row. It's 2 a.m. for me. Wow, 2 a.m. I appreciate you staying up late to check out the channel, see what we're doing tonight. It's 3 in a row. Four in a row. You know what I'll do? I'll put a couple of these guys down just so we don't forget exactly where we're putting from. Oh, there it is. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the content, TT Pig Fan. I appreciate you. Thanks for all your support, guys. It was very cool, you know, looking back through all of the back to scratch videos. Been working on a recap. Oh boy, and that streak's gonna end at 4. Let's make sure this is nice and straight. Oh, I was saying, I was looking back through a bunch of the videos, guys, and it was very cool seeing all your, you know, cheering me on, all the nice comments, everybody really pulling for me to try and reach that 0 index goal that we set. If you guys were watching the live stream from earlier in the week, you'll know that we did not reach that goal. But that's okay. We made progress. We put in a lot of effort and time. And I really feel like there's some very good golf right around the corner. Part of it is getting out on golf courses that are, you know, rated in such a way that, you know, I play well on hard golf courses, I guess what I'm saying. I'm not always going to go out and make a ton of birdies on easy golf courses. Hey, Country Boys is here. Garrett's here. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. What was the back to scratch thing about? Great question. So 30 days ago, I decided that I wanted to really commit myself to practicing, trying to improve my game, and get back to a zero index, right? I was sitting at like 2.2 and not been playing very good golf, at least for, relatively speaking. Country, I haven't been coughing. Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that, country boys. Oh, man, that's a huge, huge hit. Well, just remember, take it one day at a time. But it's going to be hard. I mean, I'm sure that's a very hard moment and period and lots of things to consider and deal with. But I'm glad that you are, open to talking about it and sharing that with people, right? Because grief is something that everyone experiences. It's one of the core human emotions and experiences that we all have. None of us are making it out of this alive, right? So it is something that we all go through, and I'm sure your dad is very proud of you, so we'll be thinking of you, country boys. Garrett says he's been finding his swing. You cheer me up. Oh, I'm glad that tuning into the stream or watching the channel can, maybe take your mind off of difficult things. Right? I know we talk about some hard things in here sometimes, but at the end of the day, the goal is for this to be, an escape, a way to think about something else or come hang out in a positive environment like this. All right, so that's 10 in a row. Matthew wants to know, what's your thought process when putting? So my thought process is speed, 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 speed. Just think about the speed. I'm pretty good at reading greens. I really need to force myself to focus heavily on, like, my goal is to roll this ball the right distance every single time, right? You want to get that putt as close to pin high. You're going to leave some short, you're going to hit some long, but you want to have that distance number as close as possible. If you have a 19-foot putt, you want to roll it 19 feet and try to center your shot pattern, your dispersion over the hole as much as possible. So I'm always trying to think about speed, number one. But then from there, I've really been working hard on this recently. If you guys have noticed some of the live streams from the golf course, really being committed to my process on the green. Right, so for me, that's step one is walk off the putt. I take, how many steps from the hole to my golf ball. Generally, it's about, 3 feet or a yard for a pace. So we multiply that number by 3, gets you roughly how many feet you have. Then from there, once I've done that, I read kind of the uphill, downhill as I'm, doing that process, walking around the green. And it's going to sound very complicated or lengthy. This all takes about 20 seconds when you're out there doing it. Right? Because you're walking to get the flagstick out of the hole, or, you're walking around the green fixing pitch marks, that kind of thing. So really being committed to process, Matthew. Oh, and we're at 10 in a row, guys. So we got to update the extremely official streak tracker. If you're a new subscriber and you want a shout out, if this is your first time checking out the live stream, just let me know and we will update this extremely official tracker in real time, give you a shout out. All right, so long way to go from 223. We're at 10, but you can only make one at a time, so we're going to try to make 11. Shout out to you, country boys. Yeah, of course. I got new clubs on Monday. Oh, that's great. Very cool. Oh, your dad was also named John. Got it. Is the lab stock or fitted? This is a stock one, I'm pretty sure. I did not do a fitting. Get this, just went on the vibes, but That said, I do recommend doing the fitting, especially the mobile one. I've heard it's pretty easy. The reason I didn't, right, is I know, should I still have done the fitting? Yes, but I knew at least from a length perspective and kind of what I was looking for, what I wanted. Steamboat, where are the dogs at? Oh, they're sleeping. I don't know if I want to go wake them up. But I appreciate you asking about them. Michael said, what's up? What's up to you, Michael? Thanks for being here, checking out the stream. Just hanging out this evening, rolling some putts. Let's go. What content are you going to do this winter? Good question, Michael. Hey, Country Boys, thanks for being here, my guy. Stay strong, brother. Sorry for your loss. I didn't do a fitting for my putter. I know what length I need. Got a Spider Tour. Love that thing. Yeah, I've got a Spider Tour here as well, Garrett. This is one of the old ones, the OG, with no sight lines or dots or anything on it. These are both, you know, in that 34 and a quarter range. How much was all of your golf set? I have no idea, to be honest with you. Some of them I've had for a really long time. Some of them were gifts, right? I have a amazing wife who got me golf clubs as an engagement present, actually. Still have some of those in the bag. Hey, Joshua's here. Michael wants to know, what content are you going to do this winter? So I think we're going to do more of these, you know, inside live streams, trying to make sure that our putting stays sharp, especially on the short ones. As the weather allows, we're still going to try to do some streams outside, hitting into the net, depending on, you know, the severity of the cold and the conditions out there. And then also, I made a post about this recently, so I appreciate you guys. There was almost 25 responses, I think, which was cool. If there was interest in watching me stream other things, and what I threw out there was maybe playing some EA Sports golf and streaming that. I think that could be a cool way to, you know, continue doing streams and making content while it's obviously hard in the winter living in the Northeast to get out and play golf and record stuff. Like I did this past winter when we started the channel, guys. We started in January of this year. So it's only been, what, 10 months? Almost 10 months now. Which is crazy. I feel like we were just saying, you know, it's only been 2 months, 3 months, not that long ago. I do have a net return, DJ. I love my net return net. Do you watch basketball? And if so, what's your team? I don't follow the regular season all that closely, I will say. However, I am a, you know, jump on the bandwagon as soon as the playoffs start, Boston Celtics fan. And I'm fortunate that I have some close friends who are like 10 out of 10 Boston Celtics fans, and they could tell you like who our number 3 guard off the bench in the G League is, because they just feel like they need to know everything about what's going on with the Celtics. So I always have those guys I can lean on to get some intel. What's that pro on it? I'm about to get one. Oh, so DJ, check out the description. There's a link. Click the link. You'll save 10% if you use my code on the net return. I think it's JYG, all caps, John Young Golf. Okay. Coming up on 20 in a row here, guys. Just roll it end over end. Aiming this one just inside right. Because it does break slightly to the left there. Travis, I'm going to do my first live this weekend. Awesome. Good luck with it, Travis. Maybe if I see you on there, I'll check it out. What is that turf on your floor? I like the setup. I want to get that for my room. Okay, so Michael, very quick. This is a very simple, you know, artificial turf. This, I think, is like a 3x8 or 3x10 piece. And then this ball return, the plastic piece with this little strip here. This is just a cheap one from the internet. You can find these very easily. I think I spent maybe $27. You don't need to spend a bunch of money on these. The key thing that I think is important is a gate setup, right? So I use this Pell's Tutor when we're not, counting how many we can make in a row, right? This is a tray. You put these ball bearings in the tray, and then it creates a gate, right? So I've been using this a lot in here, and I'll be doing a lot of this over the winter to make sure that my start line stays very good, right? My ability to start the ball on my intended line. And I also use this well stroke mat underneath there, right? So this has an arc trainer. This is a 12-degree arc. You put this down. The tray sits inside of it, right? So then I get feedback on both. Did I keep the putter on the arc? And you can even do, like quote-unquote dry fire practice with this, right? Just go really slow and say, what does it feel like to keep this putter inside? And you can see I kind of got it inside there at the end, right? So you just got to practice keeping that putter inside that arc. But I would also tell you guys, though, you don't need to spend money on these kinds of things, right? You could make an arc trainer with some tees on the green. You could use, like I have these weights here, and just make a gate setup, right? Practice rolling your ball on your intended start line. So hopefully that's helpful, Michael. Do you line up your ball on every length of putts? I don't. I actually don't line up the ball on any length of putts at the moment. I've gone back and forth. I think for me, trying to feel like I'm not relying on the line on the ball, but I'm relying on, my athletic ability and my, like, what I'm reacting to feeling and seeing on the green, right? So, sometimes I always found myself feeling indecisive, right? Like, if I didn't like where the line was pointed, or if I got over and I said, like, oh, it feels like it needs to be a little more left, or, if I hit it on that line, it's going to miss low, and you kind of have this indecision. So my process now is, like I said, walk off the putt, read the putt. I use aim point, right? So I'll get in and I'll use my feet. It's pretty easy to teach yourself the 1, 2, 3% slopes. You can just go to your local putting green, your phone has a level in it, and just teach yourself, okay, this feels like about 1%. And then you stand behind the ball, you hold up the one finger, right? And wherever it, that edge of your finger is your aiming point. So I'll pick out that spot. I'll try to find, like, it's either a ball out, so I know what my eyes are telling me that far is, or, it's at that little pebble or mark on the green. And then from there, I step in, and I'm setting my putter behind the ball, aiming it at that point, right? So this putt, it's like inside right, maybe right edge. So I'd kind of get in here, set my putter towards my aiming spot. I step into it. Take another look as you're kind of settling in and getting comfortable. And then when you feel still, right, I also hover the putter, so I'll pick it up very briefly. And then roll the putt. I was experimenting for a little while with alternating between using the line on only short putts, like inside 10 feet. But I found that I had that sense of confusion or lack of clarity around where I actually wanted to hit it. Love your shorts, love the motivation. Thanks, Garrett. I appreciate that. Michael says, got my handicap from 25 to 11 this summer. Wow, that's amazing. That's great. Gonna try to make varsity this year. You can definitely do it, Michael. You just gotta really put in the time and practice. Like I was just saying on my Back to Scratch challenge, I should have spent more time on short game. And I would tell you, especially because it's free, if you're in high school, it can be expensive to go out and play golf all the time, depending on where you live and the quality of courses you have access to. But most public golf courses at least have a chipping and putting green you can use for free. And you can spend, 2, 3, 4 hours a day just going chipping, putting, doing drills, playing little games. You can play 18 holes, all par 2s around the green, practice different lies, fairway lies, playing out of the rough. You can play longer shots, some short-sided ones. And if you get really good at getting up and down, at chipping it into that 10 to 6 foot circle or closer, ideally, and being able to consistently make, 25, 30, 35, 40% of those putts, your handicap's going to plummet because you're just going to be able to get up and down. You're not going to have to worry about, I keep doing that. I keep saying, and I'm trying to catch myself. On your back to scratch challenge, how much do you reckon you spent on golf? I don't know. Not any more or less. Well, I shouldn't say that because I had a really big golf trip in the middle of it that was planned 2 years ago. So, but if you exclude that, I was really able to take advantage of having a net at home. I didn't spend a bunch of money on range balls. So I don't have a specific answer for you, TT Pig Fan. However, I would say the normal amount is what it feels like to me. You met Rory McIlroy. That's very cool. Do you ever think about getting new irons? I do think about that quite regularly, actually. I think especially in the 5, 6, 7 iron, I do think that playing a blade like this, I'm penalizing myself. And by that I mean you just have to be so precise with the strike that the penalty for missing the center of the face and not properly compressing the golf ball is so severe. So as much as I love these blades, and I think I'll always keep this particular set around, I don't know that they are the best for my golf game and my scores, if that makes sense. Because when I look critically at my scores and where I leave shots on the golf course, it's still putting. I still 3-putt too often. And from like 175 to 225, I feel like I really miss-hit more shots than I should. You've met Rory and Tiger. That's incredible. Wow, very cool. I have actually never met either of those guys. Boom. Okay, so how many have we made in a row now? 20? Let's update our official tracker here. Which irons would you want to get? I think I'm getting the Ping G440s. I don't know much about Ping irons. Let's take a look at the Ping G440 irons. Oh, nice. These look great. I do think for me, this would be more on the further down the game improvement spectrum than I would be willing to go. But when I think about the irons that I would, envision having that mix of more forgiveness while still being pretty playable, I think about like a P790 or a Titleist T100. Or on the other end, like a Mira KM7. Okay, lovely. 21 in a row. I've got player's distance irons and want to move into a more player's iron, but I'm worried about the offset being less on the player's iron. Why is the player's irons now have such little offset? P790s used because they're 40% off. Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all. I think I'm a big proponent of spending your money on used golf equipment, right? They don't go bad. The technology was good 3 or 4 years ago. It's still going to be good today. So spend your money on lessons or time at the driving range. Not even most pros are playing brand new stuff. They find, clubs that they like, and they play them until they wear out. I've even considered going to something like an AP1. It's kind of last generation. Like that'd be like a T200 maybe. Because, you know, my goal, I keep saying it, you know. The way I play golf and the way I built my golf swing is to hit the ball very straight. So I don't need a blade to be able to hit, you know, high cuts and low draws. And, you know, I'm trying to hit the ball, I'm going to keep calling myself out on it. Sorry, guys. So the other thing, Kentucky, I would tell you about the offset is you can bend that the way you want it. And just know that, so if you wanted more offset, you would bend them strong. If you wanted less offset, you would bend them weak. And you would just know that even though my 9-iron stock is 42 degrees, well, I bent it 2 degrees weak to 44 so that to take some of that offset out, if it really bothers you. I would tell you that functionally, I think offset is a thing that, obviously, at the extreme end, it's very unpleasant to look at. But as somebody who plays irons with effectively no offset, and then I look at other clubs that do have some, and I'm like, well, yeah, sure, maybe if you put them side by side, you could tell. But I don't think it's the kind of thing that, unless you're really paying attention to it, it's going to make a huge difference. Thomas says, Strixon Z Forge 2 are amazing, surprisingly forgiving for a blade style iron. I've heard very good things about the Strixon irons. Okay, so 25 in a row we've made now. Love this. Rolling that ball nicely. L-A-B. Lab, lab, lab. Shout out to Joe, the originator of the L-A-B, lab, lab, lab chant. I've definitely gotten used to the offset on my AP3 set. I was messing around with the blade with zero offset, was slicing the crap out of it. Hi. Steve says, I watched you like a month ago. Well, very cool. I appreciate you coming back to check out another stream. Boom, 30 in a row, guys. Let's update our extremely official scoreboard streak tracker. Okay, 30 in a row. I should check, but we still have our subscriber tracker on here. 52. Tell me more, Iron Star. 52,000. What's 52,000? Okay, guys, this is for 31 in a row. Just in a really nice rhythm right now. Just like shooting free throws in the gym, guys. You gotta build the muscle memory. You gotta see it go in over and over and over again. I can't even get 2 in a row. Well, just keep practicing and you'll be able to make a whole bunch in a row before you know it. Boom. Another thing I've been trying to think about, guys, is really keeping my head very still, making sure we're not looking up, not, adjusting the path of the putter. Boom. Just feel it go in. You want to feel that ball come off the center of the putter. And you can usually feel if you made a good stroke and if you're going to give that ball a chance to go in. It's like basketball, muscle memory. Exactly right, Dontrell. Exactly right. That's what we're doing here. Just trying to build the reps. Boom. And that's 40 in a row. Love to see that. Long way to go, though, guys. 223 until we break the record. Has the lab putter changed your average for putts per round? I don't think so. But I would also tell you that it is much more likely to be a skill issue than an issue with the implement. I do think it's as well as I've ever putted inside of 10 feet. And it's hard to know if that's because of the putter or because of all the practice I've done. I'd like to think it's probably more the practice. It's definitely not magic. You can still miss putts with them. But I think just the confidence to really feel like I put the time in and I know that if I make a good stroke, the putter's going to return square. It's going to launch that ball on my intended line. And if I aim the putt, if I read the putt properly, then I'm going to give it a chance to go in. And just like life, guys, you're going to hit good putts that don't go in. You're going to hit some bad putts that maybe get a bounce and they do go in. Or you misread it and then you pushed it. But you pushed it onto the right line and it went in. Just like there's a famous story about Jack Nicklaus in a big tournament. He hits a putt and it hits a spike mark and it bounces and then it lips out, doesn't go in. His competitor says, "Oh, it's a shame you missed that putt." And he says, "I didn't miss it." Because he firmly believes, he's like, I hit it exactly the way I wanted to. And it didn't go in. Sometimes that happens. That's an incredibly hard mentality to really get yourself into, to say, I'm going to do the best I can right here. Make a good stroke, aim my ball, try to hit the center of the putter, all these things. But what happens down there, the way it rolls along the ground, whether it goes in the hole or not, that's not in my control. I control what's back here. And it's really difficult, especially, under pressure, Please continue calling me out on it. Okay, 45 in a row. 46. Drake May looking good. I totally agree, Nick. I'm very excited about Drake May. Tiger, Rory. Wow, that's awesome. TT Pig fan, really appreciate your support. Oh, we're just trying to catch up, Michael. Don't worry. I think I do sometimes I get too caught up in just responding back to comments and then I'm not actually doing what I set out to do. So I try to maintain some amount of focus while I'm trying to hit the putts, and then I catch up and say hi to everybody. Boom. Let's go. Coming up on 50 in a row here from 5 feet. Let's go. Let's go. Boom. That is 50 in a row. Giants going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know about that, Michael. I don't know about that. Oh, wow. Look at the time, guys. Well, my apologies, but we are going to finish up the stream here at 50 in a row. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you all being here. And we will see you next time. Thanks again for all your support. Hit that like and subscribe button. Share some content with your friends. And we'll see you on the next live stream. Thanks for being here, guys.